Welcome back, theater lovers, to another exciting episode of the Boxy Babes podcast. Today we'll be talking about the Michigan Philharmonic performance of Broadway classics at the Ford House, which took place back in August. But before we begin, follow and subscribe to us on all major social media platforms to stay up to date on news and reviews from here in Michigan and the larger theater community. Joining me today is our honoree Boxy Babe, Ryann Ferguson. Thank you so much again for joining us today and for going with me to this.
Of course, anytime. Thank you for having me.
I feel like this was last minute that I sprung this on you. I was like, listen, I have tickets. Let's go.
For real, though. I'm pretty sure it was day of, wasn't it? Or day before?
It was very close. I had been debating for a while buying tickets to this because I had never done an experience at the Ford House since, school.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, do I want to go back? But first I got to ask you, have you ever been to the Ford House before, the Ford Estate?
I have not. Which
Okay.
is surprising because, I didn't grow up too far from there, and I feel like we went on field trips to, very similar things all the time, so I'm slightly surprised. But I know that my grandma's been a bunch of times because she's always talking about it. She goes to shows with, a bunch of her church friends all the time.
That tracks. Because of the people that were there, that seems to track.
Yeah.
It's funny because I did go there quite frequently growing up I grew up in East Point, which is only 2-3 miles on the road. And so this was a place that we frequented quite a few times. And not to be that person, but I hated going because I always thought that the place was haunted and I was a scared little kid.
No, it definitely gives off haunted vibes. It does.
1,000%. You go inside that building and you can tour, and there's one room. I remember this because I still sometimes dream about it when I'm having a stressful day. But there's a room where there's wedding dresses from the Ford people.
Oh.
And I used to refuse to go into that room because it reminded me too much of the Haunted Mansion with the floating bride. And I was like, I'm not doing it.
It's my favorite ride at Disney.
Is it?
It is. I really like the part at the end where there's the mirrors and the ghosts jump in the cart with you.
See,
I get really excited when I get the lesbian couple.
You're like a dream come true. It's me.
Literally.
I actually was 8 years old and my mom had to bribe me to go on that ride. I was terrified of it. I could not, would not. So I think it's cool then that, me who got to conquer a fear and go there, but you had never experienced the Ford House. And while we didn't get to go inside of it, we did get to walk through the estate all the way up to the beachfront at the house where the performance was going on. I want to talk to you about what your experience was, I guess, walking into that estate and walking what was essentially a mile worth of walking to get there.
It was a very long path. And the path wasn't super clear either, which I thought was interesting. You saw people kind of going different ways to kind of all get to the same spot, which I thought was kind of cool. I thought the landscaping was beautiful. It was a very nice little walk, and I especially like that, where you go for the performances, you kind of coming around. I think that was the house, right? That we were in the backyard of the house. So you come around the house into the backyard with the waterfront, and everybody's just there with lawn chairs and everything. It was a cool little thing to experience.
Yeah, so when we were walking up there, while we were walking with different groups of people, I was not expecting the amount of people that were behind the house because the way that it was positioned, it's kind of hidden from your view. And when we came around that corner, it was full. It was packed. There were so many people there to see this performance.
And there was a full on food thing with a bunch of grills and that. Even that, I was like, wow, this is crazy.
Absolutely. And granted, we didn't get there too terribly early, but we did get there early enough that we had time to walk and sit down before the performance began. And we were still pretty far from the stage.
Yeah.
There was by the time we got there, it was been so full of people. A lot of them, like you said, probably your grandma's age, or just younger, but a lot of them were there. And this seemed like this was such a community thing that had been going on for a long while.
Yes, I would agree with that.
And so that also leads me to ask you the question, have you ever seen a Michigan Philharmonic performance before?
No, not with that orchestra. No. I've done some shows down in Detroit, I think at the Fisher before.
Okay.
And then I grew up like in an orchestra. But outside of that, no. I don't go to shows all that often.
So I'm dragging you to these performances.
I willingly go. I like to experience new things.
You grew up in an orchestra? I gotta pause here for a second and explore that for a
Yeah.
second.
I started playing the violin so they did like that whole thing in elementary school. I think it was like 5th grade where they like bring in the instruments for like a week and you get little lessons for a week in 5th grade. And then you had to choose like if you were going to enter band or orchestra for 6th grade. And so I played the violin from like 5th grade all the way through high school.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
I'm not good. Like don't ask me to whip it out and play anything for you cuz I'm not good at all. But I was there and I participated.
So you won't be performing with the Michigan Philharmonic anytime soon?
No. I was shocked. We went to the national like tournament twice while I was in high school. Once my sophomore year in New York, and then again my senior year in DC. And I'm pretty sure I know at least at one of them we took first place, but I want to say at both of them we took first place, and I don't know how we did that especially with me on the team.
You're like, how did we get here?
Literally.
That is so cool because I've always wanted to play violin and I've never played violin. But to learn that I know somebody who's played the violin is such a cool.
It lives on my wall now.
It does, and I've noticed it before, and I've never, ever, never crossed my mind.
That's the one I've had since, trying to remember when I transitioned to a full size. Probably 8th grade, I'd say, because there's like different sizes. So they like start out smaller and then kind of grow like with you. And I know we like leased this one to buy it. So I know I had it for quite a few years.
And ladies and gentlemen, this is when Ryann Ferguson will be pulling out her violin to put on a performance for us.
Absolutely not. It needs all new strings right now. I don't even think I've touched that thing in like 10 years.
So I think the interesting thing about the Michigan Philharmonic was that up until this performance, and this is going to sound so bad as like a theater gay, but I don't think I knew that Michigan had a Philharmonic team per se. I have heard of like the symphony orchestra, down in Detroit and stuff like that. If that's the Michigan Philharmonic playing, I never knew, but I've also never seen a show. This was not something like I went to go see musicals. I went to go see plays, but I didn't necessarily go to see orchestras because that feels like that's like a theater. That's like a music gay, not necessarily like a theater gay. And it had never been on my radar until it cross-sectioned with Broadway here. And I was like, well, why haven't I? And this is probably something that should be covered.
Yeah. No, and that's funny because like growing up, we used to play like theater, things all the time. I remember my orchestra teacher was obsessed with like Phantom of the Opera, and I can't tell you how many times like he would whip it out like at least once a year and make us play like a different song.
He was not letting that one go.
No.
But that is the kind of music that you would see, like, because that's the thing is like while Broadway doesn't always have, like, especially community shows, we don't have an orchestra, but like a lot of shows that are touring, specifically like Phantom of the Opera, have orchestras, and that's what a Philharmonic is. It's an orchestra of all the different instruments. So it makes sense as to that would be a show that people would perform because Phantom of the Opera is both iconic, has probably one of the biggest the biggest orchestras out there, and really showcases all the different instruments depending on what song you're pulling from. So all this to say, I had no idea what I was getting myself into or getting you into. And since then, I've now seen another show. I saw the Witcher concert down in the Fisher recently, and this also had it wasn't a full orchestra, but it was definitely orchestra-like. So I can now say that I've done 2 of them. But before we jump into the experience, I do want to give a shout out to the musical director, conductor, Nan Washburn, because this seemed like this was a really intense show. This was about 2 hours, 2.5 hours. They were playing for most of it outside on like essentially what is a beach because we're right on the water. People are having alcohol, they're eating, they're socializing. This is not like exactly necessarily a I don't know. It's not like you're going to a theater to see the show and you feel like we're all focused in, but it was a lot more relaxed, and it was a lot more. The vibes are a lot more like we're sitting here enjoying the music as we're kind of also enjoying each other. Is that a good way to kind of describe the vibes?
Definitely, definitely. I think that was one of my favorite parts about it was that like you didn't have it wasn't something that you just sat there and listened to for 2 hours straight in like complete silence. It was like people were having conversations and like you could tell it was a very relaxed vibe.
I mean, right in the description too. It says, "Bring a picnic blanket or lawn chair, relax beneath the evening sky, and enjoy the symphony surrounded by the charm and elegance of the Fort House." Like it truly just feels like almost being transported back to when the Fort House was like actively a house,
Mhm.
and like you're enjoying the music, you're having fun. And what a kind of a cool way to close out summer, because now that we are officially in fall, um dear Lord, we are in fall. Um but it was kind of cool that this was like one last experience that you and we got to go out and just vibe and
Mhm.
chill and enjoy music that everybody recognized and everybody enjoyed.
Yeah.
So speaking of the show, there was kind of two parts. Well, I mean, there was multiple different parts, but there was two sections. Obviously, there was the intermission. And leading up, the first one we open up, it starts off with "There's No Business Like Show Business," which is such an iconic Broadway song. And while we're not going to go through every single song, I think that it's important to start here because this is an arrangement that every single person who loves theater knows.
Mhm.
Like this is iconic. And I think right off the bat, we both knew this one. And we felt
Oh
like
yeah.
maybe we were old people tapping our foots a little bit because we got right into it.
Oh yeah. Well, and like right off the bat you could tell that like even the just like the people performing, like they were having fun with it. Like they were
For
all
sure.
very excited to be there, excited to be playing these songs.
Absolutely. I mean, and I think that people need to understand too. When we got into there, not every song was played fully. So, like this first one called "Curtains Up" was an arrangement that had "No Business Like Show Business," the Phantom of the Opera from the Phantom of the Opera, one from Chorus Line. There's a lot of older songs on here. "Don't Rain on My Parade" by Funny Girl. Everything's Coming Up Roses. There's so many iconic songs. Albeit, I think the Phantom of the Opera is the youngest one on that line, which is hilarious to me because that show is 30 years old. But like to see this and like you got a little bit of taste of those songs without this isn't just like a Phantom of the Opera concert. You get to it's like popping in a Broadway CD and hearing your favorite tunes.
Mhm. It's like
Um
now that's Broadway.
Now that's Broadway.
You remember those CDs?
Yeah. Exactly what it is. Now that's what I call Broadway.
Yeah.
With the sections, there's quite a few sections, and I'm going to name a few off here because I think that, again, we're not going to talk about all of them just for the sake of time, but like we had a My Fair Lady section, we had a Les Mis section, we had the West Side Story before the intermission. Out of Act 1 with the opening, the My Fair Lady and the Les Mis, which one stood out to you? Because I think I remember which one you definitely were like, I can't wait to hear that one, but I'm trying to see if you remember.
God, I don't know if I remember which one I said I can't wait for. I do remember, and I don't remember if it was in Act 1 or in Act 2, but that I was mid-sentence and stopped because they started playing Memory from Cats,
So
which is my all-time favorite Broadway song. I literally cry to that song in my car at least once a week.
I,
Um,
So yes, they did play that one. That's in Act 2. But correct me if I'm wrong.
okay.
Didn't you also go like, if they play I Dreamed a Dream, I swear
Oh,
to fucking God.
yeah, I did. I do remember that. That's another one of my favorites. I have
You were
like a
like,
whole list of like sad Broadway songs that I'll play sometimes, and those are like the first two on them. Yeah.
as a therapist, I'm going to ask who hurt you.
A
We
lot of
can't get
people.
into it. Sad Broadway songs. There's just a
Yes.
playlist somewhere.
No, it is. It's a playlist, and it's like I Dreamed a Dream, Memory from Cats. What else is on it? There's like two songs from Waitress on there. Um, it goes on.
It's so funny to me that you mentioned that Memory was your favorite song growing up. Waitress is your favorite musical. The first time we hung out by ourselves, you made me watch it.
Yes.
And then you mentioned Les Mis, which might be quite possibly my least favorite musical to ever exist. Um, I don't know if I ever told you the story, but when it toured here, RJ and I went. We took some friends that with us. Um, and they played the opening song, and like they had a digital screen, and the opening song was like 20 minutes, and then it said Les Mis across the back, and I literally said, "Oh fuck, that was only the opening song." And RJ
It is a
tried not
long
to.
one.
He tried not to laugh because I was just like, "This cannot possibly be
Have
where
you
we're
seen the
at right
book?
now."
Have you seen how thick that book is? It
I
only computes that a book that's like this thick would turn into a musical that's equally as long.
in high school I took French for 2 years.
Mm.
And the most I learned in that class was that you can watch a whole season of Veronica Mars in a week. Um, and he had that book, and he was like, anybody could read this for extra credit. And I looked at that thing and I said, I am never picking that book up. That thing is so thick.
It's so I don't think I've ever seen a book that's that thick, like, since I saw that.
What I love, though, about I Dreamed a Dream is that I think you said during the Curtains Up arrangement, you said, they play I Dream a Dream, I swear to fucking God. And then when they did, you were mid-sentence for that one as well as memory. And you stopped and you said, I think you even grabbed your chair a little bit. You were like, oh, like, like you were just like so, like you were so pulled in. And that's what I loved about this experience was that it could stop you in your your train of thought when your favorite song came up, and you're just a part of it in that moment, and that and then you can come back out, and everybody got to kind of experience that. Everyone got to touch their favorite songs and then come back and experience them differently.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, when you did the I Dreamed of Jean, I was like, oh gosh, that was classic.
It's funny though, because Les Mis isn't even one of my like favorite music. Like, I don't know when the last time I watched it was. But
it's been too long.
I love that song. Like, there's certain songs. I feel like there's shows that I'll go forever without watching. But then there's like one song like that I will like listen to very often.
Yes. No, I will agree with that. I think that like I love Sweeney Todd. I don't listen to the soundtrack to Sweeney Todd all the way through all the time. But there is the opening song to Act 2, which is That's Good, where it's like they finally have come to terms with like they're gonna start cooking people. And I will very much like ADHD, a little bit of autism, will listen to the song and repeat because it's so good that I'm just like, I'm gonna listen to this song, and like I get stuck on that. And I've never just turned on the whole album. I recently turned on the whole album to listen to it once, but like I don't really turn that on to listen to it. But like that's what I love about highlights, because like everybody has a favorite song that they can go and they can touch, and I feel like happens with Hamilton, which they did a whole Hamilton set here.
Yes.
And my favorite song is All the Ones by the King. And so them starting off with You'll Be Back, I had that same feeling of like, oh God, we're here. Like we're back, and every song on that show is so iconic. So getting to hear, like, they played 5 or 6 songs of Hamilton, that was really cool for me too. I got getting to kind of touch with that.
Yeah.
With Act 2 though, we got like, again, Hamilton, we got Seasons of Love from Rent. We got a few of Andrew Lloyd Webber's pieces. Cabaret, which again, I've never seen. Have you ever seen Cabaret?
I have not seen Cabaret.
I don't know the appeal of it, so I'm not going to speak on that.
Okay.
But we ended, before we got to 76 trombones, we had a whole Wicked period, and girl,
yes,
we are Wicked fans in this household.
Oh, it was so good.
Like, looking at this list, they hit all the important parts. No One Mourns the Wicked, The Wizard and I, Dancing Through Life, Popular, Defying Gravity, For Good. And like the world is having a Wicked moment right now, so I feel like there was no other way but to include Wicked in your 4-house experience.
And you could see like from everyone's reactions too, because it was like we said, there were a lot of like older people there, but there was a good mixture of like younger people as well. And you could see that it, like, when they started playing Wicked, because of how relevant it is right now, everybody kind of stopped and was like definitely got quieter, where you could tell like everybody was tuning in at that point.
Absolutely. That was like I want to say that is like the one moment. Again, I'm not a fan of Cabaret. It was not the one I was tuning in for. Yes, I was hearing it and I was enjoying it. And, sometimes I was doing that thing where I close my eyes and let the music take me over, because why the fuck not? But when it came to Wicked, everybody had their moments where like we're tuning in here. You could tell some people didn't like Hamilton because they liked the older music.
Hmm.
And then Wicked came, and then granted, I don't know if it was because the park was getting really dark at that point. We were kind of settling into the evening, but everybody tuned in. And that was when it just like you were focused. And this was
Hmm.
like the moment that it became just not just like a show, but like an experience.
I would agree with that.
And not to say that the entire night was an experience. Obviously, um, we had a great time.
We did.
Would you do something like this again?
I would actually. I think it would depend on the theme of the music, for me, but like all in all, it was such a great outdoors like summer experience, where it was just a really nice way to spend an evening. So I 10 out of 10 would do it again.
Yeah, I did think I'm looking up on their website right now. Like they literally have Christmas concert over the Cove, which is December 19th. They have a concert over the Cove with Julie Dilworth. Like these are things that they seem to bring back. Obviously, they're trying to have people come to the Ford House.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but this was one that I thought was interesting because it appealed to people who live in Grosse Pointe and want to have a night out. It appeals to people who love theater. It
Mm-hmm.
appealed to families. It appealed to younger people. Like there was like a lot of cross generational situational things going on, and we were all there to just enjoy a night of music together. And again, I love this too because it didn't go super late. Sometimes when you're getting out of a show, it's 10:30, it's 11. You haven't eaten, everybody's kind of cranky. You got to get to the car. Um, I didn't experience that here. Like this was like at 9 o'clock, we were packing up and going.
Yep. Yep. And nobody was like hungry or anything like that because either people brought stuff or, like I said, they had that entire like food tent with the grills.
For sure.
It was so relaxed, and no, we were out of there. I do believe by like 9.
And that's including a medical emergency too. Like
That's true.
we had a medical emergency. It delayed the intermission a little bit, and we were still out in time to. I mean, I went home, but like you still had a night that you got to go out and be with other people.
Yeah.
And you didn't feel like that. Oh, my whole night's gone now to this experience, but it was an experience that you got there, you got to enjoy it, and you didn't feel like you had lost something. I do also want to give a shout out to Katie Calzone, who was the vocalist. We had a vocalist that sang some of the songs, who sang "I Dreamed a Dream."
Mm-hmm.
And she was incredible. That was fantastic. I think that there was, again, overall, this was just a really great experience, and this is absolutely something I'd do again, depending on what the theme was. I think you're right. Would there be some themes that maybe like you wouldn't go then, like even for the experience or with friends, you'd be like, I think I'll skip this one.
I think maybe some of the like more classical music, but that mainly comes from not it comes from playing them as like a kid and not like that I don't enjoy them. Like I love me some Mozart, but I don't know that I want to go listen to Mozart for 2 hours even if it is outside.
I can understand that. I feel like again, that's a super niche.
Yeah.
Like, granted, Broadway can be nichey, but I feel like even that sometimes expands past that. But I feel like there are some that are maybe a little more alienating for some people. Like I don't think I would
Yeah.
go see a Mozart in the park either.
I would go see like the Star Wars music, but that's also because I'm a
Yes.
huge nerd.
Yes, like sign me up for Broadway, sign me up for Marvel, sign me, like those would be cool. Even we've had some times recently that different places do like the where they play a movie and they do the music over it. Like Twilight's doing that
Yes.
soon.
Yep.
Like that's cool.
Yeah.
So I think it just depends on what comes back next year, and what music they play. But obviously, if they do Broadway, I'll be dragging you along, and probably RJ, who was unable to make it, but is, where would we be without the fellow backseat babe?
Exactly.
Thank you again for joining us here and also going with me. You have truly become an important part of this family here. And we are just so happy to continue on this Broadway journey with you.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I really do love you guys and love what you do here. So I'm always willing.
So we're currently running out of time, but stay tuned for future episodes of the Box Seat Babes podcast. Take care, and we'll see you in our box seats.